So, when I was about 5 years old, I was learning to ride a bike. And we lived in South Texas and in the country. So, it was very deserty. There was lots of cactuses and snakes and wild hogs and fireflies. And I remember we used to have this dirt road. It was a long dirt road driveway. And I was learning how to ride a bike without training wheels. And I got about halfway down the road and lost my balance, and I crashed into a cactus. And I had cactus thorns all in my elbows, my knees, everywhere. And so I limped home, and my mom helped me pull out all the cactus spurs. And in that moment, I thought, I never want to ride a bike again. This is not fun. But a few days later, I got back on that bike and I made it all the way down the road without crashing into anything, especially a cactus. And I think the moral of that story is sometimes when we try something new, we're going to get it wrong a couple times. At least once, maybe more. But just as the old adage goes, you get back on the horse, which horses are not my thing anyways. I would never get on a horse ever, but to each his own. But it's about the concept of not letting things stop you. If I had decided in that moment that I was never going to ride a bike again because it was too painful to crash into a cactus, and it was painful, I'm not going to lie, I may have never gotten the freedom of what it felt like to ride my bike up and down this long country road. Because you would take a little dirt road and then it would lead you to a main road. And the main road was maybe like a half a mile of just nothing. There was never any traffic. It was literally in the middle of nowhere in South Texas. And I have so many memories as a child of riding my bike up and down that road again and again and again, and even roller skating down that road. I really love to roller skate too. But if I had given up when I crashed into the cactus, I never would have known the freedom of the wind blowing through my hair as I rode down that road on the warm Texas summer evenings. And I would have really missed out on an incredible experience. And I think that applies to multiple areas of life. It's so much easier to give up at the first sign of failure and say, I never want to go through that negative experience again. I'm not even going to try. Versus the mindset of, okay, I crashed into the cactus, but I'm not going to let it stop me from learning how to ride a bike. And when you're 5 and you want to learn how to ride a bike, that's like the most important thing ever. And I wasn't about to let that stop me. So as we go along our paths in life and we try new things and we inevitably crash into cactuses and get thorns in our knees and elbows, or we fall on the pavement and we get scraped knees. There's plenty of that too. I'm sure you can relate. If we would have let those things stop us back then, think of how much we would have missed out on. Think of how much we would have never got to experience. And so, life is hard. And a lot of times, we do fall into the cactus. Whether it be in relationships, careers, whatever it is. And it's easy to want to say, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. This was too painful. And then missing out on all the wonder and beauty that follows that painful experience. And I don't want that for you. So I feel like you've recently crashed into some kind of cactus, metaphorically. There's something that you tried and you failed somewhat miserably. You may be pretty new at this thing. It could be something you've been working on for a little while, as nobody learns to ride a bike right away. But as easy as it would be to give in to the idea of defeat and never touch the bike again, I'm asking you today to give it one more go. Whatever this thing is for you, I want you to get back on the bike and give it another go. If it's something that resonates in your spirit and something that you really want to do, if you really want to feel the wind blowing through your hair as you ride that bike down your country road as a 5-year-old kid, I beseech you to try again. There's so many times in life when it would be easier to give up. So many times when we think that if we fall into the cactus that riding a bike must not be for us, right? But that's not always the case. A lot of times, the universe loves to throw us curveballs and be like, okay, you think you really want that? We'll see. And kind of throw you off your game just to see if you have that drive to try again. Just like people who play sports professionally. If they quit playing the first time that they lost a game or a match or got an injury, they would never get to feel the wind blowing through their hair on that country road. And I say all this to say, if you've recently gone through something that was akin to falling off your bike into a cactus at 5 years old, I want to say, get back on the bike. Get back on the bike. I love you.